What would you do if you found a phone hidden in your husband's wardrobe with over 200 messages from strangers? Today's story will leave you speechless. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell because you won't want to miss what happens next. Sarah had always prided herself on being the perfect wife. At 32, she managed their Lagos home with precision, cooked her husband's favorite pepper soup every Sunday, and never questioned his late nights at the office. But tonight, as she folded his shirts in their bedroom, something felt different. The phone fell from his jacket pocket with a soft thud against the marble floor. It wasn't his usual iPhone. This was an old Samsung, battered and unfamiliar. Her heart hammered as she picked it up, the screen lighting up with notification after notification. 200 plus unread messages. Sarah, what are you doing? Chris's voice cut through the silence from the doorway. Her husband's usually warm brown eyes were cold, calculating. Your phone fell, she stammered, holding it out to him. But as their eyes met, she saw something she'd never seen before: fear. Not the kind of fear she felt now, but the fear of someone whose carefully constructed lies were crumbling. He snatched the phone quickly, too quickly. It's just work stuff. You know how demanding the oil company can be. But Sarah had seen the message preview that flashed on the screen before he grabbed it. It wasn't about oil contracts or business meetings. It was from someone named Grace, and it read, "Our daughter is asking about her daddy again. How much longer will you keep lying to both your families?" The blood drained from Sarah's face. The room spun. After 8 years of marriage, after all her silent sacrifices, her husband had another family. Another daughter. "Chris," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "What daughter?" The silence stretched between them like a chasm. Chris's jaw tightened, and for a moment, Sarah thought he might continue the charade. Instead, he sank onto their bed, his head in his hands. "Sarah, please let me explain," he began, using the nickname that once made her heart flutter. Now it felt like a mockery. "Explain." Her voice rose, 8 years of suppressed emotions finally erupting. "Explain how you have another family, another daughter, while I've been here, cooking your meals, pressing your shirts, praying for God to bless us with children." Chris looked up, his eyes red-rimmed. "It wasn't supposed to happen like this. Grace and we were together before you and I got married. When she told me she was pregnant, I thought she was lying to trap me." "So you abandoned her?" Sarah's hands shook as she backed away from him. "You left a pregnant woman and chose me instead." "I chose you because I loved you." He stood, reaching for her. "I still love you, Sarah. Grace was she was a mistake from my past." "A mistake?" Sarah's voice cracked. "A mistake that you've been supporting for 8 years. A mistake you've been visiting while telling me you're working late." She grabbed the phone he'd placed on the nightstand. "How many messages, Chris? How many lies?" Before he could stop her, she was scrolling through the messages. Her breath caught as she read conversation after conversation, not just with Grace, but with someone named Jennifer, and another woman called Blessing. Her world tilted dangerously. "How many?" she whispered, her voice barely human. "How many women? How many children?" Chris's silence was her answer. Sarah stumbled backward, the phone slipping from her trembling fingers. The conversations she'd glimpsed painted a picture she couldn't have imagined in her worst nightmares. 3 women. 3 different families. 3 sets of children who called her husband Daddy. "You're sick," she whispered, her back against the wall. "You're actually sick. Sarah, please. Don't." She held up her hand, tears streaming down her face. "Don't you dare say my name again. Don't you dare." The phone buzzed on the floor between them. Another message. This time, Sarah could see the sender's name, Jennifer. The message preview read, "Kimi has been admitted to the hospital. The doctors say she needs surgery. We need the money you promised." A child in the hospital. A child who needed surgery. While Sarah had been begging God for a baby, Chris had been playing Russian roulette with multiple families' lives. "She's sick." Sarah's voice was hollow. "One of your children is sick. and you're here pretending to be the perfect husband. Chris's composure finally cracked. Kimi is my daughter too. I've been trying to manage everything, to take care of everyone. Do you think this is easy for me? Easy for you? Sarah laughed, but it was a broken sound. You're concerned about how hard it is for you. What about Grace, who's been raising your daughter alone? What about Jennifer, whose child is in the hospital? What about me, who's been living a lie for 8 years? She grabbed her purse and keys from the dresser. I can't look at you right now. I can't breathe in the same room as you. Where are you going? Panic flickered in his eyes. Sarah, we need to talk about this. She paused at the door, turning back to face the stranger she'd shared a bed with for 8 years. We're going to talk, Chris. But first, I'm going to find Grace. The address wasn't hard to find. Sarah had memorized Grace's contact information from the secret phone, and a quick search revealed her location in Ikeja. The taxi ride felt like a journey to another planet, one where her entire life had been built on quicksand. Grace Adebayo lived in a modest duplex, nothing like the luxury home Sarah shared with Chris in Victoria Island. As she stood at the gate, her finger hovering over the doorbell, Sarah wondered if she was making a mistake. But the image of that little girl, Chris's daughter, asking about her daddy gave her the courage to press the button. A young woman answered the door, her beauty immediately apparent even in casual house clothes. She was everything Sarah wasn't. Petite where Sarah was tall, light-skinned where Sarah was darker, with an easy smile that faded the moment she saw her visitor. You must be Sarah, Grace said quietly, stepping aside to let her in. I've been expecting you. Expecting me? Sarah followed her into a cozy living room decorated with children's artwork and photos of a beautiful little girl with Chris's eyes. Chris called. He said you found the phone. Grace gestured to a chair. Would you like some water? There. The normalcy of the offer, the lack of drama or confrontation, somehow made everything more surreal. I don't understand, Sarah said, sitting down heavily. You know about me. Grace sat across from her, her hands folded in her lap. I've known about you for 8 years. Just like I know about Jennifer and Blessing. We all know about each other. The room spun. You all know. Chris isn't as clever as he thinks he is, Grace said with a sad smile. Jennifer figured it out first, about 3 years ago. She found my number in his phone and called me. Then we found Blessing together. We've been managing the situation. Managing the situation. Sarah's voice was barely a whisper. You've been sharing him? Knowingly. Grace's composure cracked slightly. You think any of us wanted this? You think we chose to be in love with a man who couldn't choose just one family? Love. Sarah stood abruptly, pacing the small living room. You call this love? This deception, this betrayal, this is love. Grace watched her with sad, understanding eyes. Sit down, Sarah. Let me tell you the whole story. Against her better judgment, Sarah Saturday. Something in Grace's voice, a weariness that matched her own, made her listen. I met Chris when I was 22, Grace began. I was working at a bank in Abuja, and he was this charming businessman who swept me off my feet. When I got pregnant with Kyoma, he promised to marry me. Then he disappeared for 6 months. 6 months. He came back right before Kyoma was born, full of apologies and explanations. Said he'd been handling a family crisis. I believed him because I wanted to. Because I loved him. Because I had his baby. Grace's voice caught. He said he would marry me as soon as he sorted out his business affairs. That was 8 years ago. Sarah felt sick. While he was promising to marry you, he was planning his wedding to me. Jennifer's story is similar. She met him 2 years after you got married. Blessing came along 3 years ago. Each time, he promised each of us we were the only one. Each time, he had an excuse for why he couldn't be there all the time. But you all found out about each other. Grace nodded. Jennifer is a detective with the police force. She started investigating when things didn't add up. She found me, then Blessing. We confronted him together. And he admitted it. He cried. He begged. He promised to choose. Grace's laugh was bitter. But he never did. He just asked us to be patient while he figured things out. That was 3 years ago. A small voice from the hallway interrupted them. "Mommy, who's the lady?" Sarah turned to see a beautiful 7-year-old girl with Chris's distinctive dimples and her mother's delicate features. This was Kioma. This was her husband's daughter. "This is Auntie Sarah," Grace said gently. "She's a friend of Daddy's." The innocence in the child's eyes broke something inside Sarah. This little girl had been waiting for her father to come home, just like Sarah had been waiting for him to come home to her. "I want to meet them," Sarah said after Kioma had gone back to her room. "Jennifer and Blessing. I want to meet all of them." Grace studied her face. "Are you sure? This isn't going to be easy." "Nothing about this is easy. But I need to understand. I need to see the full picture." Within an hour, they were all gathered in Grace's living room. Jennifer arrived first, a tall, confident woman in her early 30s with sharp eyes that missed nothing. Her police training was evident in the way she assessed Sarah, taking in every detail. "So you're the wife," Jennifer said, not unkindly. "I always wondered what you looked like." "You're the detective," Sarah replied. "I always wondered how someone in law enforcement got fooled by a man like Chris." Jennifer's smile was rueful. "Love makes fools of us all. Even those of us trained to spot lies." Blessing arrived 20 minutes later, looking harried and apologetic. She was younger than the others, maybe 25, with a baby strapped to her chest and a toddler clinging to her leg. "I'm sorry I'm late," she said, settling the children. David was fussing, and Princess didn't want to leave her toys. Sarah stared at the baby, another of Chris's children, barely 6 months old. "How many children does he have?" "5, Grace said quietly. "Kioma with me, Kimi and Toby with Jennifer, Princess, and David with Blessing." 5 children. Sarah's voice was hollow. 5 children, and I've been praying for just one." The room fell silent. The weight of their shared situation settled over them like a heavy blanket. For women, all loving the same man, all betrayed by the same man, all trapped in the same impossible situation. "What do we do now?" Blessing asked, her voice small. "Now that we're all here, facing each other, what do we do?" Jennifer leaned forward, her detective instincts kicking in. "We figure out the truth. All of it. Because I have a feeling there's more to this story than even we know." Jennifer's apartment was a stark contrast to Grace's homey duplex. Clean lines, minimal furniture, and a wall covered with photos, documents, and string connecting various pieces of information, like something from a crime thriller. "You've been investigating him," Sarah said, studying the wall. "This whole time, you've been building a case." "I'm a detective. It's what I do." Jennifer pointed to a photo of Chris. "But what I found goes deeper than just multiple families. Your husband, our husband, isn't just a cheating man. He's been running a complex financial scheme." Grace and Blessing crowded closer to look at the documents. "What kind of scheme?" "He's been using all of us," Jennifer explained, her voice clinical. "The money he gives us for the children, the rent he pays, the gifts, the promises, it's all been funded by fraud. He's been embezzling from his oil company for years." Sarah felt the ground shift beneath her feet again. "Embezzling? But he's a senior executive. He makes good money." "Not good enough to support 4 families and maintain the lifestyle he's been living." Jennifer pulled out a folder. "I've been tracking his financial records. He's been cooking the books, creating fake contracts, inflating project costs. He's stolen millions."
Millions.
Blessing's voice was a whisper. "But he told me he was struggling financially. That's why he could only give me small amounts for the children." "He told all of us he was struggling," Grace said bitterly, "while he was stealing millions." Jennifer nodded. "The company is about to discover the fraud. I have contacts in the financial crimes unit. There's going to be an investigation, probably within the next few weeks. What does that mean for us? Sarah asked. For the children. It means everything you thought you knew about your life is about to change, Jennifer said. The house you live in, the cars, the lifestyle, it's all been paid for with stolen money. When they arrest him, they'll freeze all his assets. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. They weren't just betrayed wives and forgotten girlfriends. They were unknowing accessories to a criminal enterprise that was about to explode their worlds. There's more, Jennifer said quietly. I think there might be a fifth woman. What do you mean, a fifth woman? Grace's voice was strained. Jennifer pulled out another set of documents. I found payments to someone named Victoria Chris. Different last name, but the amounts and timing suggest she's part of the pattern. Plus, she's been receiving the largest payments of all of us. Victoria Chris. Sarah frowned. That's not possible. Chris doesn't have any female relatives named Victoria. Maybe she's not a relative, Blessing suggested. Maybe she's another girlfriend, another family. Or maybe, Jennifer said carefully, she's his first wife. The words hung in the air like a physical blow. Sarah felt her legs give out, and she sank into the nearest chair. His first wife. Grace whispered. He's been married before. I think so. The paperwork I found suggests a marriage certificate from 12 years ago. Before any of us met him. That would make all of us. Sarah couldn't finish the sentence. The other women, Jennifer confirmed. Even you, Sarah. Even the legal wife isn't the first wife. The room erupted in shocked voices, but Sarah barely heard them. 12 years ago, she had been 20, fresh out of university, dreaming of her future. Chris had been building a life with someone else, someone named Victoria. Where is she? Sarah's voice cut through the chaos. Where is Victoria? Jennifer consulted her notes. London. She's been living in London for the past 8 years. The money he sends her is substantial, enough to support her and what appears to be 2 children. 2 more children. Blessing looked like she might faint. 7 children, Grace said numbly. He has 7 children. That we know of, Jennifer added grimly. Sarah stood up abruptly. I need to see her. I need to meet Victoria. Sarah, she's in London. You can't just. I can and I will. Her voice was stronger than she felt. If we're going to confront this, if we're going to figure out what to do next, I need to know the whole truth. All of it. The fraud investigation, Jennifer began. Will happen with or without us, Sarah interrupted. But I won't be blindsided again. I won't discover another piece of my life is a lie from someone else. I'm going to London. 2 days later, Sarah stood outside a modest flat in East London, her heart pounding. The flight had been a blur of anxiety and determination. She'd used her savings, money she'd been putting aside for the children she'd dreamed of having, to book a last-minute ticket. Victoria Chris opened the door on the second knock. She was older than the others, maybe 40, with elegant features and tired eyes that widened in recognition. You're Sarah, she said simply. I've seen your photos. You've seen my photos. Victoria stepped aside, gesturing her in. Chris shows me pictures sometimes. When he visits. You're more beautiful in person. The flat was comfortable but not luxurious. 2 children, a boy about 10 and a girl about 8, were watching television in the living room. They looked up when Sarah entered, their father's features unmistakable. Children, go play in your room for a while, Victoria said gently. Mummy needs to talk to the lady. When they were alone, Victoria poured tea with steady hands. I suppose you have questions. A few, Sarah said dryly. Like why your husband married me when he was already married to you. Because I left him, Victoria said simply. I found out about Grace and the baby, and I left. I took the children and came to London. You left because he cheated. I left because he lied. Not just about Grace, but about everything. The money, the business, the promises. Victoria's voice was steady, but Sarah could see the pain in her eyes. I loved him, but I couldn't live with the lies anymore. But you still take his money. For the children. Victoria's voice hardened. He owes them that much. He owes them more than that, but it's all I can get from him. Do you know about the others? Jennifer and Blessing.
Victoria Nadid.
I know about all of you. I've known for years. He tells me about his situations when he visits. I think he feels guilty, and talking about it makes him feel better. And you just listen. I listen because I stopped caring about him years ago. But I care about those children, your children, in a way. All of you are raising his children while he plays at being a businessman. Victoria set down her teacup. There's something else you need to know. About the fraud, about the money. You know about the embezzlement. I know because I helped him set it up. The teacup slipped from Sarah's hands, shattering on the floor. You what? Victoria moved to clean up the mess, her movements careful and deliberate. I was an accountant when I met Chris. I helped him establish his financial systems, set up the accounts, create the paperwork. I thought I was helping him build a legitimate business. But you weren't. Not entirely. Some of it was legitimate, but Chris was always looking for shortcuts, ways to make more money faster. When I realized what he was doing, I tried to stop him. That's when he started the affairs. He said if I didn't help him, he'd find someone who would. So you left. I left, but the damage was done. My name was on too many documents, my signature on too many accounts. I couldn't expose him without exposing myself. Sarah stared at her, pieces of the puzzle finally clicking into place. You've been blackmailing him. I've been surviving, Victoria corrected. And so have you, so have all of us. We're all complicit in this, whether we knew it or not. But it's over now, Sarah said. Jennifer says the investigation is starting. They'll find everything. Victoria nodded. Which is why I called you. You called me. I called Grace and asked her to show you the phone. I told her where to leave it, when to make sure you'd find it. I've been watching from London, waiting for the right moment. Why? Because Chris is planning to disappear. He's been moving money offshore, creating new identities. When the investigation starts, he'll vanish, and we'll all be left to face the consequences. The room spun around Sarah. You're saying this was all planned? My finding the phone, meeting Grace, all of it. I'm saying you deserve to know the truth before he destroyed all our lives and disappeared with the money. Victoria stood up, walking to a desk in the corner. She pulled out a thick folder. This contains everything, all the account numbers, all the false documents, all the evidence of what he's been doing. Jennifer can use it to build a case, but more importantly, you can use it to protect yourselves. What do you mean? I mean you don't have to be victims anymore. Any of you. You can take control of this situation. Sarah looked at the folder, then at Victoria. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting we beat him at his own game. We know about the money, we know about the fraud, we know about his plans. We can expose him before he disappears, but we can also make sure the children are taken care of. You want us to steal from him. I want us to take what's ours. What's always been ours. What he stole from us along with our time, our hearts, and our dignity. The front door opened, and the sound of children's laughter filled the flat. Victoria's children, coming back from school. More of Chris's children, growing up far from their father. Think about it, Victoria said. Think about all those children, 7 that we know of, maybe more. Think about what they deserve. Then decide what you want to do. As Sarah looked at the folder in her hands, she realized her journey was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this incredible story of secrets, lies, and the strength of women who refuse to be victims. What do you think happens next? Will they expose Chris? Will they take the money? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell for more amazing stories. Share this with your friends. Trust me, they'll want to hear this one too.